Hi friends, Suzanne here. Welcome to another paper pumpkin alternative video on my YouTube channel and blog. If you're new to my channel, I want to say hi. This video will share alternative projects to stretch your paper pumpkin supplies. If you don't know what paper pumpkin is, click the link in the description box below and check it out. So come along with me as I attempt to create out of the box. Well, hello, cheeky monkeys. Here we are with the Memorable Meadows Paper Pumpkin Kit for March of 2024. This is my second card design that I'm going to share with you, and I'm going to make two cards. So I have a card base from the kit, and I'm going to cut up I'm going to cut it up and I'm going to make two cards with this card base. So I wanted a 3x3 square. So I am picking the square that I want. So I know there's a little bit of wastage here and there. Of course, if you were to design something similar, you can choose to cut it, a 3x3 section somewhere else in the picture, but I chose this one, 3x3, and then I went in with this side, and I tried to, it's kind of the same colorway as I'm looking at them, but there was some more prominent colors in one to the other. So I'm going to have fun sort of channeling my mixed media artistry. I haven't done this in a while, so I'm going to share with you some of the fun things I used to do when I did mixed media. So I don't know if you've been with me for a long time or watching my videos for a long time, you probably may have noticed early on I used to have on Wednesdays, I used to share my art journaling, and I very much enjoyed that, but Stampin' Up! Didn't have a lot of materials to do that sort of mixed media. So I just sort of went full blown into, and I love it. I'm not missing it at all. But I went full bloom into card making and 3D design. So as you can see here, I'll stop talking about that for a second. I have my 3x3 square. I have basic white here. That's 3 1/8 by 3 1/8. And then I have crumb cake, which is 3 1/4 by 3 1/4. Just, and I'm matting it so that it looks lovely and delightful. Oftentimes when you have something that's full color, if you matte it with white and then a neutral, it just pops. So there's a little tip. There's a ton of tips in this video, so stay tuned. All right, so here's my non-porous surface. This is just a laminated piece of paper. You can use a piece of plastic. I'm spritzing down a little bit of water, and this is with a Stampin' Up! Spritzer. And then these are the ink pens that we have, the ink markers, not to be confused with our blends markers. Those are alcohol markers. These are ink markers. So as you can see, I'm putting the nib of the marker into the lid, and I'm flicking hard. You're not going to ruin the nib, I promise, especially if you do this so infrequently. Then I spritzed a little bit of water on my watercolor paper. This is called Fluid 100. And then I just heat set it with my heat tool. It took a little bit. There's two settings on the Stampin' Up! Heat tool. It's low and high. And of course I use the low. And as you can see, I'm re-dipping into the ink that is on my non-porous surface and drying it off. Again, cleaning it off, drying it off, that sort of thing. And then I added some more color. So I'm drying in between these color sets. Now, I'm making just a very pretty background. I could easily I could easily just use a piece of white paper and there the card is done. But I was, like I said, channeling my mixed media person and or the deep love I have for mixed media. And mixed media is easy. All it is all about layers. That's all it is. Layers upon layers upon layers, and you make a pretty thing. So the one very last thing I will mention is that I am spritzing green on top of my background here. And the reason why I didn't put it on the palette is because when you mix green and purple, it browns everything out. So I am going not to do that. So you can see here, I'm looking at the picture and I'm picking some colors. I pulled out all the colors that the paper pumpkin said on the back. It has a whole bunch of coordinating colors like balmy blue, basic black, berry burst, daffodil delight, early espresso, fresh freesia, garden green, gorgeous grape, granny apple green, mossy meadow, night of navy, old olive, pretty pink, petal pink, I should say, pretty peacock, and very vanilla. And you know what green I'm not going to use, don't you? If you know me very well, you know that mossy is not necessarily my favorite green. All right, so I did splatter some of the colors here again on this non-porous surface. I had previously sprayed it with water. I'm spraying my watercolor paper with water, and then I am easily just dipping in. This one is going to be a little lighter than the other. I kind of went crazy with the first one, and I just wanted a very simple background. Oh, I want to make a comment here. I said it was watercolor paper. It's not watercolor paper. It's just plain basic white paper. So it's not even the thick stuff. So I apologize. It's not watercolor paper. It wouldn't curve like this if it was watercolor paper. So speaking of curving, this is how I sort of straightened it out. I just used my bone folder and sort of smoothed it out like that. It worked out perfectly. And when I go to put the card together, I'm going to use the tear-in tape and a lot of it to adhere it to a mat and then to the card base, so it's not going to have that weird flip up. So we have this free stamp set. So I'm using it. So I am stamping with Memento Tuxedo Black ink on basic white card. And I am going to color with my blends markers, starting off with the, I think this is Petal Pink. And then I'm going in with Daffodil Delight and doing the blending with that. So just so you know, the alcohol markers, you can totally blend different colors like I'm doing here. Just because they're only two colors, light and dark, doesn't mean that you can't mix them with other colors. So that's what I'm doing. I have sped this up considerably, but oftentimes I've been asked that to share how I color. So if you're interested, this is how I color. Just like everybody else, I guess. But if you wanted to go ahead and skip ahead to watch me finish the coloring, you can go right ahead. And then I believe this is one of my favorite colors of late, Berry Burst and Fresh Freesia, I believe. Also, or maybe Highland. I can't see it as I'm editing here, and I didn't jot it down. It was one of the colors that's on the back. It must be either Fresh Freesia. Yeah, it must be that. All right, and then Garden Green and Old Olive, maybe? No, it is Old Olive. That color is very distinct, isn't it? It actually really does look like old olive trees. All right, I'm fussy cutting, but boy, oh boy, aren't you happy that I cut that part out? I also used the blade on my Take Your Pick tool to get rid of the inside of that flower. This is a little tip. Just in case I didn't cut correctly, I'm going over the colored edge with a black marker, and it's going to look like I was an amazing cutter. A hairdresser's got to pride herself on scissor work, but yeah, I just went over it with a black marker so that it looks perfect. All right, here's the tear tape that I was talking about from the kit. I have adhered lots of it to the back side of our background piece, put it on some crumb cake. And my original thought about doing this card was to sort of make a Polaroid, but then I like, you know how it's more a Polaroid has more of the white on the bottom, and I was going to put the sentiment there, but then I didn't want to cover up all my background. This is my problem. When I get into mixed media, I think that the backgrounds are so pretty that I rarely want to cover them up. You should see some of my art journaling books where I just have a pretty background like this and nothing else on top of it. Yeah. So anyway, I did choose to go to a smaller size, the 3x3 size instead of the Polaroid size. You can go ahead and Google those measurements if you wanted to do that. And if you didn't want to do something that had a funky background like this, the Polaroid idea would have been perfect. So the flowers, I'm going to arrange two different, like I said, two different styles. I am going to adhere the flowers here at the bottom, and in the other one, I'm going to put the flowers at the top. Now, I will change where that flower placement is. Not the big 2 flowers, but the flower that I'm working at right now. I will be plucking that up and actually adhering to the sentiment. But let's just watch as I place this down. And then I'm going to place our focal piece, which is a beautiful path. I really liked that square of picture that I chose. Then here's another little flower. And yeah, I did fussy cut and, zhuzh everything up and tried to, tried to use all the bits and components that I created. So here's the card number 2. I'm doing the flowers on the top because I did the flowers on the bottom before. And then here I am putting dimensional adhesive on one of those little yellow daisies and putting that directly on top of, so just the mirrored image basically. Here I'm putting my focal piece on dimensionals right in the center there. And then once again, I've almost forgot the sentiments. Like, what is wrong with me? I forget them. Here I'm zhuzhing up the card. I'm like, that's looking pretty. Then I forget altogether the sentiment. So here I go adding sentiments. So I'm using Garden Green, which is the ink spot that came in the kit. And I've stamped out, have a beautiful birthday. And I am just going to leave, I could have fussy cut them, but the flowers are fussy cut. I kind of wanted to have more of a bold sentiment. So here I am lifting up my first flower because I'm actually going to attach it to one of the sentiments here. I'm going to use Tombow glue. And I just rubbed the adhesive bit away there. I'm going to use Tombow glue here on the stem. And then there is a little bit of dimensional adhesive, I think, still on that little daisy. Or maybe not. I took it off, sorry. And now I'm going to put adhesive on the daisy and just on the top portion and dimensional adhesive on the bottom. I don't want to cover up much of the flower or the path, so I think the placement was perfect there. I cut this sentiment down just a little thinner. I ended up putting dimensional adhesive on the top, and I'm going back in for a strip of dry adhesive, or my Seal Plus, if you will, on the bottom of that sentiment. And then I'm going to use the adhesive backed sequins. Gotta love anything blingy, I gotta say. I'm going to put them on the cards for decoration. And that, my friends, is my paper pumpkin alternative for March of 2024. I'm just going to let you know there's a big sale coming up April the 9th. I also have a couple of online classes that I'm inviting you personally. If you are Canadian, please check them out. Go to my blog, sunstampin.com, and under the title there, you will find card making classes, and basically they're super affordable. All right, thanks so much for watching. Bye for now.